Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. A few days ago we posted on Twitter a question on what advice would you give to new players on Apex Legends. Also, what tips helped you out the most? So instead of giving me my personal input, I believed it was best to really ask the community. I wanted to provide collectively what advice will really help you. I feel most of these are mindset based, but it is very clear outside of any setting of what motivated the best players, especially those that are still playing Apex Legends. I'll add in some of my commentary here and there, but this is really from the community as well. I have the main Twitter link so you can see the full thread. There were so many tips, but I had over 250 plus comments, and I try to highlight some of the big ones that I saw that were repeating over and over again. And maybe we'll do a part 2. There was so many comments, I'm confident we can do a part 2 of these series. So this is going to be 20 tips on how to get better, high-level mindset, and how you can improve on Apex Legends. Tip number 1, stop trying to win every time. This is one that got the most likes on the post, but it's such an important tip. In any game or even a battle royale, you're going to lose, especially on Apex Legends. It's okay to lose, and remember what motivates you to have fun. It can also feel bad when losing because statistically you're going to lose more than win in any battle royale even, specifically Apex Legends, especially because of the MMR. Remember that losing are key moments to learn. It is better to lose 100 games and gain knowledge than it is to win every game and continue to make and create horrible mistakes. But also, if you lose, remember, was the fight enjoyable and intense? Putting fun should be the highest priority, and remember not to stake winning as the only way to have fun. Number 2, work on your settings. Do not let your teammates rush you into playing a game of Apex. Either you're on controller or PC, spend all of your time getting your settings right. Remember, these can come down to personal preference, which is why I'm not highlighting every single setting here. But a constant trend across the board with everyone commenting was play with settings and test them out. It's better to test keybinds, controller sensitivity, mouse sensitivity, or more in the test range, rather than adjust to them and not want to change because you already got used to those settings in game. This process can easily take an hour at the start. Long-term players have mentioned skipping this process had a negative impact on them in the long run. Even if you're intermediate, take this time, go back, and practice those settings. Number 3, breathe and avoid tilt. Remember to ease into playing. I understand how stressful the game can be, but you gotta breathe. It helps you level, keep you calm, and keeps your body engaged. Tensing up is usually the worst thing you can do. It happens a lot. When I first started playing Apex Legends even, I remember tensing a lot, especially around Diamond 2 Predator lobbies. Try practicing in the test range and teaching yourself to ease into gaming. If you practice being relaxed, you're gonna play more relaxed. Number 4, fight, and fight more. This is a common trend as well. You need to go for gunfights. It leads to you losing, yes, because you're going to inevitably lose. You're not going to win every fight, let's just put it that way, but go for fights and learn from each of them. It is why Arena can be helpful, but it's also important to get into those engagements in the Battle Royale side, because they're very specific in terms of their own positioning. Nothing will prepare you more than just practicing and dropping hot. You will start to make adjustments and improve as you make mistakes. Number 5, experiment with new settings. Apex is such a unique shooter. It's a very demanding game. It demands so much more with your hands, which means there might be some settings out there that you haven't even thought about trying. Try all the advanced controller settings and see what works for you. Even on mouse and PC, I started playing with mouse acceleration. I don't really recommend that one for new players though. Try a new field of view setting. Go all the way max, and then try dropping it a little bit and see what works for you. And even change your graphic settings. So much can really help you. Give it all a shot and experiment. Number 6, FOV settings. Some mention raising it all the way up to see more around you. Some mention it lower to see more at a distance. Find your comfort but experiment with this. Even some mention trying to hip fire more when at close range and stop trying to ADS everything. Try these settings out. Everyone kept commenting once they raised their FOV how much better they were playing. Apex Legends tend to have a very tight FOV at default, and really raising it can help see more around you. And information and knowledge is key. Number 7. Focus on positioning. Out of everything mentioned, you should be focusing on positioning first and foremost. Stop worrying about your aim so much and focus on positioning. The better you position, the more you set up yourself for success. If you miss your shots after getting the jump, then you can practice a bit on your aim. There's no reason to obsess about it. The old comment, all aim, no brain. So positioning, and position more. Focus on it so much more than anything else. Another one, number 8, stop focusing too much on abilities. This tip is reinforced by early on when I give advice, I play Wattson. If you realize where you can effectively use your abilities, it can be a really big game changer. If you don't have those get out of jail free cards with your mobility, it'll teach you how to position better. Remember, key theme, positioning. Most newcomers rely too much on their abilities and use them at the worst possible moments. The order should always be positioning over aim and abilities. Number 9, understanding guns, gear level, and just the basics. What do gold items do? The gold armor, give it to a player with the highest chance of dying, meaning are they going to be entry fragger because they can heal faster with the cells? Helmet, give it to a legend with the highest cooldown or the best ultimate ability. Backpack, give it to Lifeline or Mirage. If not, whoever has the best team composition that can help you res after the fact. Or the KO shield, whoever has the highest chance of being the first one knocked so they can res after the fact. So give it to somebody who's going to really benefit from each of those perks. Or even ask a question, tie these together, who's going to benefit most from our current gear setup? Who will be the best with the shotgun? You only have one purple bolt, maybe giving it to the Gibraltar who will bubble fight and maybe need it more. See what, in terms of this tip, where I'm getting at? Just know how to maximize your usage in terms of all of your utility. Let's say you have multiple snipers on the team, and one of them is a legend that's going to naturally play further back, and the other one is going to entry frag. We'll give it all the equipment to the one who's actually going to be sniping a bit more. Now, tip number 10, look straight forward when running. Now, this tip really goes into keeping your crosshairs level. One tip that is highly overlooked, and to stop looking at the ground only and gather info. It is really odd when we all play FPS games. At the start, we naturally want to look at the ground only. It's really odd when we first start playing first-person shooters, we only want to look at the ground. Also, this is where loot is, so it encourages you to keep looking at the ground, but remember to reset at head level and keep your crosshairs up. This will help save you time on flicks and avoid being dropped on. Number 11, latency. One tip to overlook is that your latency, or what your frame rate is. When you have a higher latency, you know that the Peacekeeper and Wingman already have slow bullets. You're going to need to lead a lot more. If you have bad ping, aim for consistent ping. You can predict better if it's consistently bad, rather than randomly spiking up and down, because you cannot predict when your bullet's going to need to be led more, when it's not. Aim for consistency. There is a massive difference between having 20 ping versus 170. One will need to lead more than the other, or understand when they cut corners when you're going to appear on the opposite end. This is going to affect everyone's setup a little differently, but just understand what your ping is and that it is going to impact your gameplay, especially because Apex Legends has bullet velocity and not every single gun has the same velocity on Apex Legends. Number 12, knowing when to heal. Remember, healing in Apex takes longer than most Battle Royales, so when should you heal? If you are the entry fragger, you need to push forward, but once you do damage, is to back up and let your teammates fight while you pop a battery. There's no reason for you to go down or have almost next to no HP. Let your teammates into the fight. At a higher tier level, this is very, very important. Batteries are your best friend, and in a gunfight, you should always prioritize shield healing over normal heals. This will help avoid flinch and aim punch. Recap, prioritize shield heals first, or armor swaps. Heal when you are low and your teammates have full HP, as they will have to engage or help cover you in that fight. Know when you have the health advantage and when is your best opportunity to fight. Let's say you get cracked, but you have one person down, and your teammate goes in first. You can still back them up, because that is the 3v2 situation. So just know when your team is going to push, and when they can use you to make the fight a lot easier. Number 13, communication. Either it be pings or in voice comms, communication with your squad is so vital. We saw yesterday with Timmy even solo queuing to Pred the difference teammates make when they even communicate just slightly, because you understand what's going on in their minds versus when they're silent. It's really hard to know if you did massive damage or there's an opportunity to win a gunfight. Even pinging attachments can be huge for your squad, so give those comms out. They make the world of a difference. We've seen it already in practice. Number 14, stop looting so long. Good advice is to let the others do the looting for you. Gather loot where you need to fight and go gather it off of enemies that you win in gunfights. Understand if you're fighting more, you'll be more confident with a lesser loadout. Your loadout can make and break. Yes, but early on, not everyone is super geared. Get your gear off other enemies rather than scouting in a new location trying to find the gear. The potential is that the enemy has that loot for you. Also, they have armor leveled up for you to utilize as well. So go fight and spend less time looting. This is important too, because you can level up your armor shields by just getting into a fight. You don't need to go find a blue when all you needed to do is 150 damage. Worst thing that can happen is you loot for 20 minutes and die without barely firing or using your loadout. So go fight and learn that you are better than you give yourself credit for, and will learn more by getting into more fights. Also, stop worrying much about your loadout. This is a really big one. Some peeps rely on all of their skill based on having a good loadout. Just be confident, go in there, and you can do more as a squad than you can do separately, spending all of your time by yourself looting. Number 15. Movement is important. Positioning is key, but also how you move can be huge. Learning how to b-hop, wall bounce, tap strafe can be very, very beneficial. Just know that it won't make and break every single gunfight. It can be very expressive, seeing your movement, and also quite fun. Number 16. Another tip when using movement and positioning is to queue up and solo queue. Try to fight a 1v2 or a 1v3. Stop worrying about KD and learn to duck and weave into a fight and bait enemies to make a mistake. This will prove very challenging at first, but over time it will get easier. It was a common thing mentioned, solo pubs and push everything. Who knows, you may even get an amazing clip out of it too. Number 17. Do not land on top of each other. Land close to each other, but do not land on top of each other, grabbing each other's loot. Be within earshot, but do not land on top of each other to the point where you're just splitting loot, and there's not enough loot in most buildings for everyone. This literally happens all the time for most people. You want to be on your teammates, but be confident to loot, and be ready to help your teammate within earshot. The fact of the matter is this. Let's say a team jumps on you. So that's 3 people versus 1. But that building only has enough loot for maybe 2 people. If your other 2 teammates are nearby, they can loot a bin or a building and will be there to help you out in just a moment. Play the odds in your favor. Number 18, play for you. This one is so important. Other teammates will make mistakes. They may even ping and yell at you, but play for you. Do not fall into their same mistakes or make an error your teammate did. Maybe they push all 3 at the same time, but it does not mean you need to make the same mistake. It's okay if mistakes are made. I mean, heck, we're all going to make mistakes. It won't always be their fault even. Realize when it's your own fault too. It's okay if you make mistakes. Don't let your teammates get mad at you either. Know they're just as passionate, but no one should ever give you a hard time if you're giving it your all. You're giving to the squad, and that's what's important. So many times I push and got lasered from a cross angle and realized I probably shouldn't have pushed. But don't force your teammate to make a mistake. Number 19, find a setup you like and branch out. Test out every gun in the game and see what resonates with you. Then get in there and try new guns, because it's okay to have favorites at the start, so you build confidence and comfort level. It's like putting on a new pair of shoes. There are tons of shoes out there and you may feel comfortable at first, but you gotta break one of them in at some point. Number 20 is time and patience. Understanding this game takes time and is incredibly rewarding. You put in the time, you're gonna see the benefits just as every player has. But remember that as you get a higher MMR, it's only gonna get more difficult and you're gonna have to be even more patient. And sometimes you may not even notice your progress, so it's going to require even more patience. Patience as you wait for the right engagements. Patience as you improve. Patience for better positioning. And patience for your teammates and their playstyle. Patience is key. Be slow and steady and win the race. Number 21, uninstall the game. Just kidding. I saw somebody post this in the comments. I just thought it was pretty funny. I figured I'd just put it in there. But all kidding aside, hopefully you guys all found this video helpful. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you want another set of these. There was so many comments, literally 250 plus. I know most of them were kind of a duplicate, but there's so many great tips. And I was just overwhelmed by the support on that tweet and how helpful it was. Again, thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.